Aussie company Shoes of Prey has been at the forefront with its website that allows women to design their own shoes. Uni mates Jodie Fox, Michael Fox and Mike Knapp launched it back in 2009 and they've since relocated to the US, raising more than $30 million in funding along the way. But that success has come at a personal price. Co-founder Jodie Fox spoke with Sana Kadar.
We had about 6 million pairs of shoes designed with us. And in terms of the shoes you can create, we literally have trillions of possible shoe outcomes. We give you 12 base styles to choose from.
Considered one of the big success stories of the Australian tech startup scene, based in LA now, but take me back to the beginning. How did the idea first come about?
So Michael and I had been friends. We'd met in law school and we'd gone out into our various careers and we weren't sure that we were having the best time. So I was practicing as a banking and finance lawyer. Mike and Michael were at Google, and Google is a pretty incredible place to be, but there seemed to be something else that we would like to do. I also didn't entirely love the shoes that I could buy off the shelf, and I found someone in Hong Kong, and I remember I was on a stopover. I had about a 5-hour stopover in Hong Kong, so I ran in from the airport and I went into this little shoe shop, designed 14 pairs of shoes, ran back to the plane and then had them delivered. And as I was opening up all these boxes, it was just amazing, and the girls in the office were asking, how I'd done it. When I explained, they asked me to make shoes for them too. And so it was this idea in the background of making these shoes and putting it online, coming together, that became Shoes of Prey.
I think one of the really fascinating things about the story of the business is that when you started, you were married to one of your founders, now you're not. Tell me about that level of trust you've all had and how you made that transition.
It's pretty phenomenal, and to be honest with you, painful. When we decided to divorce, it was actually, it had nothing to do with the business. So we had come to a point where we realised, understood, knew that we had tried everything and it couldn't go further. The first thing that was hard about it was making that decision ourselves and coming to terms with it, but then needing to share that with the business. And it was almost like what I imagine it would be if you had to tell children.
Customization trend has really taken off. We have companies like Mon-Personnel, The Daily Edited. Why do you think it's been so successful?
The reason I think it hasn't taken off until now is because there are so many aspects to it. When we started our business, we thought we're a retailer. But then we discovered that we're a retailer, but we have to be a manufacturer as well, because there is no one in the world who can make one pair of shoes at a time on demand at scale. And we built the factory so that we could. And then there's also the technology piece. So you have to help people to seamlessly and simply be the designer with the technology that we build in-house. And so these three elements are so critical to execute perfectly before this can succeed. And we're the most funded company in the world, to my knowledge, to have the opportunity to do that, and we're going the furthest with this.
Tell me about your family's background. You come from an Italian family. When did they migrate to Australia? Where did you grow up?
Back in the 40s, it was straight after the World War II that they migrated out. I got married, had my mum, and they had a very poor upbringing. They were banana farming around Byron Bay. For my parents, it was really important for my sister and I to have the opportunity to go through to university.
It's a pretty incredible progression, a journey over decades. What do they make of your success now?
Well, at first they didn't understand it. I remember showing my nonna the website and she started laughing at me, like not like, oh, I'm so happy, but like, ha, 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 ha. And I was like, Nonna. And she was like, Jodie, this is how I used to make my shoes back in Sicily.
Right.
And it was true. It was like, of course. Like, she would go to the cobbler, she would pick the material, they would measure her foot, and it just like blew my mind in that moment that it's like, yeah, we're not doing something new, we're just putting it in a place that people will get to access it. Probably the other point at which my family understood what I was doing was taking them to a speech with me that I was giving. They were visiting me in Sydney and I had to give a speech, and I was like, oh, can I just bring my parents? And they saw it and then they were like, oh, okay, and I knew that they knew it was a good thing, but they were like, whoa, this is bigger than we thought. It's great to have them on that journey with me because, gotta be honest, like, it's pretty lonely and it's difficult, and I wouldn't get through without those anchors of my really close friends and my family. So we moved to LA last year in August. I think we officially opened the office, and I thought today I'd take you on a quick tour through our new headquarters. So come with me.
Do you have any regrets at all with the business, with the, the price you've paid?
Gonna make me cry, yeah.
Oh.
Dude. Sorry. It's a good question. You know, I don't regret anything about Shoes of Prey. I love what I do, and actually when I think about it, it's my biggest blessing. The regrets, you know, I mean, you give so much of yourself, and that's a good thing because it's what you should do. But you have to be mindful of keeping a part of you and prioritizing parts of your life so you don't lose them. And I think that's the thing that I've learnt, unfortunately, probably the hard way, and hope not to learn again.